I'm Laura Ekstrom. As we begin the final day of this conference, I'd like to express thanks to Kelly Clark and Mike Ray for organizing this conference. Thank you for all of your hard work. And I've not met Joyce or James, but I hear that they've done an awful lot of work on the details, so thank you to them as well. And thanks also to the grad students who have provided some rides from the airport. I feel grateful and privileged to be able to be here on this occasion, honoring someone who is so deserving of honoring, Al Plantinga. Our first speaker this morning is Professor Eleonore Stump, who's Robert J. Henley Professor of Philosophy at St. Louis University. She, like Al, is a person of not only intelligence, but also wisdom and warmth and grace. She is the author or editor of 16 books, if I've counted correctly off of her CV, including the forthcoming book that many of us are looking forward to seeing in print, Wandering in Darkness, Narrative and the Problem of Suffering. The commentator this session is E.J. Kaufman, Assistant Professor of Philosophy at the University of Tennessee. Eleonore Stump will be speaking on the value of atonement.
I'm hoping the mic works. Does it work? What shall I do?
Is this on? And okay. Try raising it up.
I'm just going to.
Okay. It works. It's just.
You know, you could all watch him fuss with my clothing, or we could see. The speakers who've praised Al Plantinga before me have talked about his achievements in writing and in teaching, and those achievements are manifest here today, as so many of the people who were his students, either formally or informally, are gathered together to honor him and to discuss work whose source or seed is some stimulus in his own work. And many people have also called attention to his admirable integration of faith and learning, and to his marvelous warmth and generosity as a person as well. So many people have already talked about things that I otherwise would have said myself. But I certainly want to add my voice to the chorus of voices that have praised him. And so I thought what there was left for me to do, and all I could think about was to tell you a little bit about my own history with Al. When I was still a comparative stranger to Al, I told him that I thought he ought to mentor me as a service to the church. And with really wonderful patience, he said, "Okay, Eleanor." So I set up a year-long series of lunch meetings with him, to which he dutifully and patiently came, the purpose of which, in my view, was for him to teach me how to be like him. When I gave up, I said sadly that the whole misguided effort was like a French poodle's trying to learn how to be a Saint Bernard. And he said very kindly, "Well, maybe a terrier, Eleanor." I have since made my peace with the fact that I'm going to do things my own way. But over the years, I have called on Al many times for counsel in perplexity or distress. He has always been there for me on the spot with care, with patience, which was often needed, and with wisdom. And I have been extremely grateful for all that care and all that counsel. Mark Twain said that a classic is a book everybody wants to have read and nobody wants to read. And maybe there's a similar point about lives. There are lives that everybody wants to have led and that very few people actually lead because of the labor and the strength of character needed to live them. And I think Al has had a luminous life of that sort. At any rate, what I want to say is that for me, he has been a kind of North Star, guiding me in the direction I would like my own life to go. And I have been very grateful for his witness and his help over the years. And so here's what I want to say. He can retire from Notre Dame if he wants to. But I don't see any reason for letting him retire as the pater familias he has been to the visible and the invisible SCP. So that's it. And here's the paper. In his essay, Supralapsarianism, Alvin Plantinga tries to base a solution to the problem of evil on the value of the atonement. By atonement in this connection, Plantinga means that which is accomplished by the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus, understood as incarnate deity, fully human and fully God. And that's also the way in which I will understand atonement in this paper. Plantinga says, consider the splendid and gracious marvel of incarnation and atonement. I believe that the great goodness of this state of affairs, like that of the divine existence itself, makes its value incommensurable with the value of states of affairs involving creaturely good and bad. No matter how much evil, how much sin and suffering a world contains, the aggregated badness would be outweighed by the goodness of incarnation and atonement, outweighed in such a way that the world in question is very good. But then this gives us a very straightforward and simple response to the question, why is there evil in the world? The response is that God wanted to create a highly eligible world, wanted to actualize one of the best of all the possible worlds. All those worlds contain atonement. Hence, they all contain sin and evil. If a theodicy is an attempt to explain why God permits evil, what we have here is a theodicy, and if I'm right, a successful theodicy. In this paper, I don't want to examine Plantinga's theodicy. And here I have to tell you that I'm going to skip around hugely in the printed version of the paper, and so for the next two sections of the paper, you'll be better off just listening than following, and I'll tell you when we resume with what's in the text. Instead of investigating Plantinga's claim that the value of the atonement can be the basis of a successful theodicy, I want to examine Plantinga's position, the obvious presupposition of Plantinga's position, namely that there's a very great value in the atonement. I don't disagree with him on this score. I sure hope you hear me. I don't disagree with him on this score, on the value of the atonement. I share this view with him. But I want to try to understand better this view that I share with him. So what is in fact valuable about the atonement? Although the answer to this question might seem elementary, on reflection, the question turns out to be remarkably difficult to deal with. Any attempt to answer it depends on finding an answer to another, even more difficult question: what is the atonement? Since the answer to the first question about the value of the atonement obviously depends on the answer to the second one about the nature of the atonement, I'm going to concentrate on the second one here. It isn't going to be possible in this short paper to present and defend an answer to the question. So don't get your hopes up. This is all about problems, not about answers. But I hope to show some of the possibilities for answers and the difficulties associated with each of them. So this paper raises more questions than it answers, but my hope is that seeing the questions more clearly will itself be a contribution to discussion about the answers. So the nature of the problem. We can begin reflection on the question about the nature of the atonement by considering the purpose of the atonement. There is little, if any, controversy in theology